Morning. Welcome to our last episode on our series on emotional intelligence, the importance of emotional intelligence and cultural competency as a Black CEO. We have had 5 series prior to today. Thank you for this platform. The Black CEO family is a family of professionals, of business owners, entrepreneurs, corporations that have come together to ensure and inspire up and coming CEOs. We are unapologetically Black CEOs, and we are making great things happen. So if you have not plugged into the Black CEO family, I call it a family because that's what it is, please check it out. This is where you can grow, where you can thrive, where you can collaborate, where you know that possibilities are endless. And what's unique about this is it's a setting that's global. So wherever you are, you can stay connected and be part of a great family that's intentional about making a difference, about creating wealth in our Black communities locally and globally. And what I'm here to talk about this morning, which is the last episode of the series, several others will come after, but the series will be the last. Today will be the last for the series. Just so I take you back to what we've done so far. We've been on this journey for over about 6 weeks today, and we started with talking about the key elements of emotional intelligence. We talked about how emotional intelligence can boost productivity. That we talked about. We also talked about developing emotional intelligence, developing emotional intelligence. We talked about leading with emotional intelligence. We also talked about emotional intelligence and you. And I know I've gone over all of this. You're thinking, what are these things? The key takeaways were the ability to know the 4 quadrants of emotional intelligence: the self-awareness, the social awareness, your self-management, your relationship management. If you go back to some of the teachings, you will be able to get the nuggets out of what we have talked about. Just being aware of yourself will help you better deal with other people and will help you to know how to position yourself at all times to ensure that your best is always what happens to you. Your best might never be good enough for some people, but when you continually do your best all the time, you create a brand, and hopefully you are sincerely evaluating what you're putting out there so you can critique yourself, have feedback from other people to be that best self. So that's what self-awareness will do for you. Of course, self-management, that's your ability to first manage yourself. That's one person that you can truly manage, and that's the hardest person to manage because it's easier to tell people what to do. But when we have to do it, sometimes it can be cumbersome. It can lead to procrastination and so on and so forth. But emotional intelligence will let you take a sit back and clearly know that you need to manage yourself. Because when you're managing yourself, other people are watching you. Do as I do, not doesn't work anymore. You show by example. People lead by example. Sometimes you don't have to say a thing. People already know what to expect from you. And that's what someone with emotional intelligence will do. They will constantly manage themselves to ensure that they bring the best self forth all the time. Then, of course, we talked about social awareness. That's another quadrant. Again, you're going to be in the social space. You can't do this work alone. Whatever your job is, whatever your career is, you cannot grow it alone. You need to be around other people. If you're an employee, you have co-workers. You need to be able to handle them. You need to be able to embrace them and not take everything that they do to you personally. And then, of course, relationship management. You need to be able to manage relationship because there's so many different types of people. You have your own personality. I have my own personality. Sometimes I say some people are introverts, some are extroverts, but all together we have to work as one team. So how do we ensure that we are able to embrace one another and create relationship? Because relationship doesn't just happen. It takes work, you all, to develop relationship. It doesn't just happen. The cards that you exchange at those networking events, that's not relationship. It's just the beginning of a journey that you're about to embark on, because those cards can just end up on your desk collecting dust if you don't develop it further. But that's not where we're going this morning. This morning, like I said, we're going to talk about activating your emotional intelligence. I'm taking it that you will be going back to the series of what we have taught so you can understand where we're coming from. Because of my time, I'm not going to be able to go into all of the details of what we've done before, but thankfully it's all recorded. You can go back to it and watch it. If you have questions, you can still inbox me with the questions. But this is what we're going to be talking about today, activating that emotional intelligence, because we all have it. And once upon a time where this topic came about for me was as a young professional in corporate America in the 80s. I had a boss who took interest in helping me develop. I didn't know that's what this person was doing then. I thought he was just all hard on me, always telling me what to do, and anything I do, I never thought that he was satisfied. I never knew that he saw something greater in me. So he went into that space that we call mentorship now. I didn't know what it was called then. This was in the 80s. And I really didn't know much about mentorship and all of that. But he took interest in me. Now I can see that it was interest to help me be that great and better associate that I could be. And what it was is during my my review in corporate America, then we would review ourselves before we go to our review. You will get an email from your boss from corporate, and then you would evaluate who you think you are. You rank yourself in numbers, and you would explain why you think you're the best thing since sliced bread. And I always think I am, because I always put my best in it. And my numbers were always on the high end because I did my best. I made sure that I put my heart and soul in what I did. And I knew that. And it translated to results. I was a good salesperson, service oriented. And I grew up the corporate ladder from teller to vice president. Not to bore you with my story, but it's important to interject that story, because all we're trying to do is to inspire us to take action and to do some new things that maybe we're not doing before, that's not going to break the bank. So Tom was my boss then, and Tom said in one of my interviews, what I would do in my review would be to have an agenda, because I was not someone that liked to speak. It was so hard for me to deal with a lot of speaking, and I knew I needed to break from that jinx, which I am now. And I will have my agenda, and my boss will have his, and he would wonder, why do I have to have an agenda when I'm coming for my review? And guess what? The reason I had that was because I wasn't a talker. I knew what I had in my mind. I was more of a thinker and a doer than cha talking. So I knew that they would take over the meeting, and I would not be able to give my feedback on what I wanted to say. And this was a once a year, if you're good, it's only once a year. If you're not, they're going to be talking to you almost every time and get rid of you. But it was just that once a year. So I always knew that anytime we've had previous reviews, they will say everything they want to say, they'll say all the cool stuff. Then by the time we finish, everybody's ready to get up. And I'm still sitting there thinking, I wish I could say this. I wish I could say this. So I decided, you know what? Why don't I have my own agenda? When the boss finishes his, and I can make sure that I bring my thoughts. And my agenda is nothing other than figuring, how can I move forward? What do I need to be? What do I need to do to move from an officer of a corporation to an assistant vice president? What do I need to be a vice president? So as you're doing my review, I'm already thinking, okay, I already made it now. What's next? So in order for me to throw my what's next out there, I went with that agenda model. That's another teaching for another day. And it worked like magic, you all. Because after we do all of the accolades and we rank, how did I review myself? How did my boss review me? How do I fare? What's the raise? And all of that. So when that's done, I'll be like, can I have 5 minutes of your time? And I would have already sent that. And it was almost always the same thing. How can I be better? How can I serve you better? And how do I get to the next level? That was always my agenda. Because my agenda, you all with an MBA going in as a teller, my goal was to be a vice president. That was my agenda. So I needed to know what the steps are. And if I don't ask, nobody will ask for me. So that would be my question. And he would go, Remy, you just got promoted. Why are you asking? I want to know because I get to speak to you once a year in this format. So I really need you to know what I'm thinking and where I want to go. So that was how all that came about. And Tom recommended the Emotional Intelligence book for me to go read. And when he did that, I felt like, oh my goodness, what did I do? I didn't cry in this meeting because my head was just working and thinking, why would he do that? Because I didn't know what the book meant. And I ran and I tried to get the book. I didn't get the correct last name of the person. I thought he said Coleman. It's Goldman. So I ran back a few days after that. I couldn't find the book. So he eventually bought me the book, even though I ended up getting one. It's Goldman, Emotional Intelligence. It's Goldman, not Coleman. So the book was found, and I've used that book religiously every single time, and it works like magic. It's even something after you've used it and you practice what's in it, you live it. It's that's just a way of life for everything that you do. Because emotional intelligence is nothing but treating others the way you want to be treated and being conscious about it to do it all the time, at home, at work, at play. It doesn't matter where you are. People are people. They want to be treated right. They want to see that you care before they help to do whatever you need to do. So that's what that is. So to me, it wasn't too hard because I like fairness and I like to be fair to people. But sometimes we all don't know the how. We don't know that the little stuff makes a difference. So this book helped me to know that the little stuff, even though I was that quiet Remy in corporate America, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I needed to have my voice. So I enlisted to get my voice through the Dale Carnegie training. That's where my journey started. So I knew where my weaknesses and my areas of strength were. But this book helped me through Tom's recommendation of me reading it. I now realize that, wow, it's really a compliment that this man said to do this. It wasn't anything to slight me, which I had initially thought. And I know you're listening to me. Some things you hear, if you don't know the meaning, you might think someone is insulting you. Take a step back and realize that they're not always. People are not always out to get you. I've realized that, no. They might not know how to communicate. They might not know how to present it. They might not know how to package what they're bringing to you. But their intentions are generally not to go get you. No. Majority of people that I know are not like that. Anyways, we are talking about activating your emotional intelligence. How do you do that? We've talked about emotional intelligence. I know if you've been listening to the series, you'll understand that I'm seeing it as something very important. That there's something very important. So why and how can I get it? How can I activate it? It's in you. I know people go for training and they have certification and all that stuff, which is all good. Those helps you to really, if you need accountability partner to help you implement what you're learning, go for it. But emotional intelligence, these are the things that you already have within. The simple things as getting to your office and saying good morning and you just validate people there. That's simple. That's as simple as somebody who is your staff coming to you and talking to you about a situation. Oh, I have to go pick up my daughter. She's ill. You see them the next time. Common sense should tell you to ask, how is Debbie doing? That will break and melt their heart and say, wow, my boss even remembers I'm a human being. That's what people want. They want to know that you see them as a human being. All we're trying to do is make impact here and there and make a buck as we do that. But people want to see and know that you care about them as a human being, that you even validate their existence, especially if you are a CEO of a company. Everyone that's in your company is important. When I was in corporate America, the cleaners were just as important as anybody. The tellers were just as important as the big guys. Because if you come into an office and the whole place is messy, it's dirty, and the cleaning people didn't do their job the night before, you're not going to feel it. You're not going to like it. You're going to feel like, what in the world? Immediately, you're going to be put into a zone that you're not happy about. So that tells me simply that everyone is important. Same thing if you're in a corporate setting. If someone is a teller, when I was a teller, that was just as important as the manager. Because if you open that door and there are no tellers on the teller window, you all are you bank with somebody. If you walk into a banking center and nobody is on the teller window and you see some people everywhere else, but the window where you want to go cash your check or do whatever you need to do and get out, you don't want to stay forever. You are not going to be a happy camper. You will not be a happy camper. You will really, really feel like, what in the world is going on here? And by the time you get to that window, if they dare to keep you longer than you want, you're not going to be a happy camper. When they even say good morning to you, you might not even respond to them. If you're bold enough and one of those clients or customers that like to talk, you might tell some people how you feel exactly. Like, why don't you go do this, da, 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 da. So I'm saying all of this to say that every area of your company, every role that you have created to be relevant to the growth or the start of your company, every role is important. If it wasn't important, you will not create it. And because you've created it and people are feeling that, those people are equally important. They need to be cared about, just like Arika Fraser. Yes, they need to care about their employees. Everybody needs to care about their employees. Without that, we can't do anything. Of course, some people will be like, oh, I'll go get another. I'll do this. Yes, you can. But can you imagine what it costs to retrain and bring another person or a group of people that you don't even know if they will be worse off? The devil you know is better than the one you don't know. I'm not saying anybody is a devil, but if something is difficult and you've identified why it's difficult, it's easier to provide solutions to that. But someone, a leader with emotional intelligence, will think that way. Someone who doesn't have that will just think that, oh, let's replace them. Yes, of course, some people need to go. Yes. And you don't make any apologies for that. You've documented them and they still don't get it. They need to be out of your on the street to where they belong to other company, not yours. Because you have a purpose, you have a focus. So they need to be out of your team. If they're creating confusion and friction and problem, and you can identify it, not hearsay now, not who said, she said, and people can buttress their facts. I'm talking about real facts, then they need to go. But if they're not and they just need a little TLC, sometimes, even though they're your staff, people need to be validated. So once you do that and you get them you inspire them, they're going to want to do more. If they're lacking in education or on how to do their job, you'll be able to teach them. It's cheaper for you to do that than to do anything else. And that's what activating your emotional intelligence is, because it's already there. It's your ability to forge connections. That's one of the ways you can test it. Forging connections. Connections forging is not just in your office, even in your home. In your home, the way you do something at home is how you do it outside. You should be one human being relating to everyone the same, with the same principles, using these different techniques. So you want to forge connections. If you have a child and you're a CEO, you have a child who you're disconnected with because you think this child is acting up and the teachers are just saying everything they can say, and you don't get to the facts. You don't get to the reason why the behavior is going on, and you truly just think that this is a problem child, but you're not giving that you're not extending your heart to want to know what is the root of this problem. Then it's going to be difficult for you. So you have to forge connections. Forging connections is not easy. Sometimes it means that you have to be humble. You have to really take your hat of leadership or your title. You have to put it down and just be a regular person. Don't let your title, oh, I'm the mother, I'm the father, I'm the CEO, how dare they talk to me like that? Step back. Step back and know exactly and say, where is this coming from? Remy has never been like this. Why is Remy this way? What exactly could be going on? Play the devil's advocate. Don't immediately agree with anybody. I never agree with anybody that tries to pull my own children down when they were younger. No, I never supported the children to disrespect any teachers either. But I wanted to understand the dynamics of what was going on. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and that's what planted this idea that I'm talking about now, that their child was going through some challenges in school. because they were being bullied, not challenges because they're not smart. You know, kids are going to be kids. They were being bullied, and this child couldn't express what he was feeling at home. But what happened is that this child came home, and then normally when they come home, he would run and say, oh, hello, mommy, hello, daddy. But this child didn't even act like anybody entered the house when they entered. So she was living it and thinking, what in the world is going on? And first she thought, oh, is this child sleeping? Maybe that's why he didn't hear us. Normally he would come and say, hello, mommy, hello, daddy. But he didn't do none of that. So this woman said, you know what? She went with a holy anger in her to the child and said, what in the world is going on? You have not seen me all day, blah, blah, blah. What is going on? And the guy, the boy still didn't say anything. But by the time she went real firm, like, wait a minute, you did not say anything to me. What is going on? She knew immediately there was something going on. If she did not pay attention, and as she kept on digging deep, the child busted out crying, profusely crying like you would not imagine. She did not put her hands on the child, you are not. It was just more like, what's going on? Why would I come home and you didn't say anything, and you're still telling me, you're still acting like you don't see me? He busted out crying. It turned out that they have been tormenting him. They've been doing something. A child had poked him with a pencil that made him bleed. And then this child, is a girl, went and started acting up with the principal that, oh, this person made me cry. And she started it. So this guy had to deal with some in-school suspension on something he didn't even do. When they turned the light off on him, poked him with a pencil, but they quickly went and dramatized that they were the girl and that he hurt them. So he was taking it all in and deep and thinking, oh my God, how am I going to explain this to my parents? So that's when the mother said, wow, this is what's going on. So she immediately went to school the next day, and they discussed it, and the school now had the side of the story for the child. But let's say she just ignored that act of just being cold and thinking, oh, maybe, oh, he's a teenager and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter if anybody's a teenager. Whatever they are doing before, it shouldn't stop. It should not stop them at least validating you. They might not hug you like they used to hug you when they were 5-year-old, but at least to say hello, mom, and anything to welcome you home is not too much for any child. I don't care if they're a teenager or whatever nature they are, but they need to be able to do that. But what I'm saying is that this individual, this mom, used her emotional intelligence. She was able to relate and say, there's something deeper than this. There's something deeper than this. And that's what happens when you forge connections. You're able to see beyond what's on the surface. You see the glamour, you see the Facebook Live, you see all the things that you want people to see. But who is that Remy? Who are you? What do you bring to the table? What do you need? Who do you need? Why do you need them? Those kind of questions need to help you create and forge connections that are genuine. Don't go after forging connections just because of what you're going to get. Always have your hand. Be the one that's offering. How can you serve? Service will never fail you. Of course, you might never get the reward from where you have served now, but it's going to prepare you for a better future. So forging connections, meaningful connections. My son and I were just chatting this morning that it's always important to stay around positive people, because the people you stay around that are going somewhere, they can only influence you to be a greater you. But if you're around people who are always, who never have anything good to do and who never feel like they amount to anything, that will dampen your spirit. So you'll never be able to forge that. So when you're forging connection and relationships, it's very important. Remember, you are the CEO and the manager of your life in the physical. Other than our creator, we are the ones who have our own best interest at heart. Nobody else can want success for themselves, for you than yourself. So once you realize that, it makes you to understand that you are in a journey. You are on a journey of life, that it's every day you're in school. Every day is a learning opportunity. Every day is the learning opportunity, because you know that you don't know it all. Someone with emotional intelligence never walks around thinking I have the solutions to everything. No, you cannot have solutions to everything. As you're thinking you have solution, somebody else has something else better because of their experience. You need to find out, yes, Erika, you need to find out, how did your child's day go? If you engage with your child and not just say, oh, well, do you have a test? What's your homework? No, that's important, yes. But there are other emotional things that they're going through that you need to be able to validate by asking that, how was your day? Not necessarily saying, what is the letter grade? So forging the connections and relationships, it begins in your home, people. When you can forge that in your home, you carry it everywhere because that's part of your DNA. That's part of you. So you're able to forge relationship with other people outside, because what you make happen at home is going to be an example of who you are. And then you're consistently faithful in engaging with others. And guess what? It makes your life journey a little bit fun. It won't be easier sometimes, but it becomes fun. As long as you're having fun, nobody promises us that everything will be easy. But if you're having fun doing it, it will be easy one day, and you will get the reward for whatever you're doing. So forging connection is so important. It starts from the home into your networks, your church network, your business network, your career network. There are networks for everything, but you've got to forge intentional connections, not just for what you're going to get. You will always win at some point. But if it's genuine, the win might not come from that relationship that you're forging directly. Other people are watching you all. You're on a wall stage. I'm on a wall stage. So whatever you're doing, somebody's looking. So the person you're doing it for and with and by might not see it. They might not even notice you. It doesn't matter. You just know you're on an assignment doing what you need to do. So when you're forging relationships, when you're forging connections, just be intentional about it. It's like raising a child. You are building it. Some days they're not going to be so receptive. Some days they're going to just act like they're the best things in slice. But whatever mood they bring, you're able to manage it. And that's where we go back to that 4 quadrants of our emotional intelligence, the awareness, the self, the social awareness, and all of the things we have talked about. This is so important because when you forge connections, the right connections will give you less headache. It will still give you headache. I'm not promising that there won't still be an issue here and there, but it will be less because you're able to scrub the unnecessary baggage, the unnecessary elements that you don't need to be in your space. And scrubbing doesn't mean you won't talk to them. Yeah, well, you will talk to them. It just means they cannot be part of that journey, because that journey that you're on, you already see it loud and clear. There are some people that need to just be on the side, they're on the wayside. Eventually they'll come on board. Maybe they're still waiting for some conviction. They still don't see you. They see me as Remy the banker, now Remy the speaker. They still don't get it. It's not adding up to them. It's okay. It doesn't matter. You just keep doing what you love to do, and your passion will make room for you. Your gift will set you before kings and queens, and you will be able to get the result and be that brand you that you have been created to be. And until you become that brand you, there's that unrest in you. So your ability to use your emotional intelligence and forge connections that are meaningful without expecting results right now is a good thing, because men will fail us. The best of men are still men. That means women too. That we are the same. So you don't expect that somebody will be able to repay you for what you're doing. And when they don't, you're like, okay, I shut down. No, you can't do that, because that's just one person or a group of people out of billions of people in the world. So just look at them as they're not relevant right now. They might still come on board, you all. Most of the time they come on board. They stylishly come on board in a way that you're thinking, huh, me, who, huh? And all of that exclamation. But you still show up. If you can help, just do it as unto God. You don't need to worry about thinking about what they had done before, because if you do that, you're not going to let go. And then you won't let God. When you don't let go, you can let God do what he only can do in our lives. Because it's all about him that we're doing whatever we're doing. There's no ability that we have without our creator enabling us to have it. Then sometimes you need to slow down. Slow down. Activate your emotional intelligence. It teaches you how to slow down. And when I say slow down, there are times you need to be silent. Your voice is not necessary sometimes. You use your wisdom to understand how to use those pregnant pauses where you're quiet, and sometimes where you're just sitting still, so you can see more and hear more on how to execute that vision, that passion, that provision that you believe you have to make impact in the world. It might just be staying still. Staying still doesn't mean you won't. You could be in your home and just do you. You don't need to be everywhere that is not relevant to what you think you're doing. Even sometimes when it's relevant, if it's not possible, if there are priorities that come before another, you do it. You do it. You do it, and then you apologize. You don't need to take permission for you to stay still, to slow down. You don't, because people will tell you, oh, you can do this. They don't know sometimes if you have fatigue, if you're tired, if maybe sometimes you just want to rest. There are days I don't want to do anything. There are days I don't want to talk to nobody. I just want to be me and just do nothing. So if I'm feeling one of those days, then I need to just be me. I don't need to make excuses. If things are being asked of me at that point, if it's my slow down day and my slow down mood, then that's what it should be. Because you are the only one who truly knows who you are and who knows whose you are. So once you know all of that, you will know that sometimes slowing down, it's not a sign of, oh, I'm tired. It's not that physical fatigue. It's slowing down to uncover, to discover some other things that maybe you could be doing to make your journey better, sweeter, and faster. That could just be what it is. It doesn't mean that you're slowing down because you're not everywhere, that you're not doing something. Sometimes you want to just go under the radar screen because some things are still, they're still in the incubator. They're not out yet. So you don't feel like you need to really be all out there to prematurely say things or do things where you cannot sustain. But it doesn't mean you're not quietly building, but you're slowing down. You're slowing down doesn't mean you're idle. It just means that you are being intentional about how you use your time, and you're being intentional to remember yourself in the equation. You're being intentional to know that you also matter. You are saying that I matter. So today is my slow down day. And all I'm going to do is you can read a book. Slow down day doesn't mean you sleep all day. No. You can decide to pick a book, read a chapter of a book. You can decide that there's a mentor that's always blessing you, and you go there and you watch a few of their videos to inspire you. Les Brown is one of mine. I love me some Les Brown, George Fraser. These are key people who, when you watch what they're doing and the personality and how they carry their success, it makes you to know that these are real people. They don't wear their success on their head. They are matured enough, to an extent, the John Maxwell's of this world, Bonnie Diamonds of this world. They're matured enough to not wear their success on their head. It's in their heart. So there are moments that you need to just slow down and just know that your success just needs to be in your heart. And when it's in your heart, it's not in your head. You're able to attract the right people. Even during your slowdown period, you're able to attract the right people who you need for the journey. Because the journey is long, you all. If it's fun, but it's long, especially when you're passionate about impact. Impact never ends. Walking on impact never ends till we close our eyes. I don't believe that anybody will retire if they are destined to impact, because you're always going to have something. You've got to have something. So that slow down moment is so important. Thanks, Erica, for putting those on. I appreciate your joining and being engaged. Thank you. So slowing down, it's a good thing. You need to have a slow down me time. And then you just do it. And your family will know your slow down me time. Once I enter my little office in my house, everyone knows that that's my me time. That's my Remy slow me time. That means I don't want any distractions, and I don't want to engage in any chat. And I do it when I'm not interrupting family time. That's just my me time. So whatever your me time, slow down, just do it. Your me time could be go do something, slow down and just go shopping, go do something fun. Slow down doesn't mean you're sleeping on the bed. You're just doing something that's not work, but that's fun, that you just want to do. It could just be go and watch movie, do whatever, just so you know that you're doing what you love to do without trying to impress anybody. It's just something that you want to do. And that's really what it is. Welcome, Prince. So that's so important, the slow down time. That's what I'm doing most of the time these days. The past 2 years was more of run. This year has been a lot of slow down, even though I'm in a lot of activities, but they're intentional. They're intentional things that are adding value to my passion and to me as an individual that want to leave a particular impact and footprint on the face of this earth. So the things that I associate with, even during my slow time and slow down time, are fun things. I do join the golf. I'm not a golfer yet, but I do go. I'm part of the Women Golf Association. This is, to me, that's a slow down time because I'm doing something fun. As I'm doing something fun, I'm also creating and adding more relationship to my list of great men and women. So those are the things I'm saying. So slow down doesn't mean, oh, Remy said, just sit down and just be counting the ceiling. No, slow down just means you do you in a fun way without worrying about what anybody is saying, creating that time for you so you can have it. Okay, yeah, kids will keep you engaged. Yes, Arika, when I was a soccer mom, basketball mom, and all of that, even though they thought those times that we go around going from one track, one basketball to this, we're busy time. To me, that was slow down time because that was time away from my corporate job. And I looked forward, and my husband and I would run around driving from one place to the other through the CYO, the Catholic Youth Organization. God bless those people. Oh my God. They helped us to engage in so many activities. And we would do our ballet. When we now got a girl, we do our ballet. So to me, those were slow down times, even though people see it as busy time, but they were fun busy. So they were slow for me because there were things that if I have to do it again, I would do it. Those were moments that are priceless. And now that they're grown, I miss it. And now if you're in that phase, enjoy that phase. It's a beautiful phase. It's a lot of work, but make it fun. Carpool with people. Have parents that you can trust, that you can all share in whatever you need to share in the responsibility of the carpooling. And pitching when you can. Volunteer to be the snack coordinator, the coach, and all of the things, or the clapping. I was a clapping mommy. Side clapping. I'm not a sport person, but I will clap, and I'm one of those screaming mommy, calling names and getting people excited. That was me. To me, that was my slow time because then I didn't have to worry about corporate shenanigans. I was just doing me, and it's fun. So whatever your slow down time is, do it. The third thing is embracing your role and self-relax into moments of celebration and stress. You have to relax yourself and you have to embrace yourself. There's some wins that you enjoy because you've done it. You don't pat yourself on the back. Sometimes you need to step back, count your blessings, name them one by one, and celebrate you. Celebrate you. Celebrating what you are being enabled to do by your creator, because it's not always like that. It's not always like that. Your storyline that you think it's not the best or it's not where you want it to be is a starting point for someone. So always celebrate. You know what you have invested to be where you are. So someone with emotional intelligence, when they activate their emotional intelligence, they can validate themselves. They can also validate their team. I know you want to make that $1 million goal, but celebrate the 100,000 win. That will inspire your team to keep going. Create an incentive measure. It could be, in my old days, was, if you do this, if you get us 5 referrals to the platform, you can have the evening off. Then we used to have, when the bank would open from 8 to 2 or 8 to 2, and then we reopen back on Friday from maybe 5 to 8. It was those old days when we were not opening straight. So if you tell someone, guess what? You can leave. after we close for the first session, you don't have to come back for the evening. That was a big deal. That's a way you celebrate without saying that, oh, I don't have a budget for this. I don't have a budget for this. Because there's never going to be budget for everything you want. You've got to be creatively thinking, what are the things that you can do that won't cost you too much, but that still will let you validate and celebrate your team and celebrate yourself. For you, it might be as simple as taking your family out to Chick-fil-A. You don't have to go to the best restaurant. Just having family time to celebrate something is good. You go where your purse leads you. If you can go to Ruby Steakhouse, Ruth Chris Steakhouse, you go. Ruth Chris, you go wherever you need to go. But wherever you can afford to do it, do it. That's celebrating and embracing you at that point, because it's very important to embrace and celebrate you and relax in a moment, basking in that moment of success for a minute, because it's a journey. It's never going to end. But if there are moments that you are seeing some things happen, and when you sit back, you're the only one who know how long this journey have taken you. When people see me speak and I'm doing all that I'm doing, I have invested a whole lot in my personal development through the John Maxwell group, through the Platinum Speaker with Les Brown, through the CEO space, and so many other phenomenal things that I've associated with, and through all the mentorship that I'm undergoing. So when I invest in that, when I see some successes, to some people, it might look like, oh, wow, but it's work. It's work, and we can all do it. But when we see the success, someone with emotional intelligence will relax into that moment and celebrate. You also relax in the moment when you are stressed. You know why we're stressed? Because we're trying to do so much and we're thinking too much. Sometimes I overthink some things that are so simple. Lately, I've stopped that. This year, that was my one of my commitment to myself. I will not overthink anything. If something is meant to be, it's going to be. But I'm not going to not give it all my best. Once I've given it my best and it still is not looking like it's happening, I don't fret anymore. I used to worry and think, oh, my integrity. No, it just means it's not the right time. So how to embrace that moment that you're stressed and validate it that it's not a poor reflection of you. If you've given it all, you just stand and hand it over to someone who knows the beginning from the end, who will make it happen. And if it's meant to happen, something will happen suddenly. And that suddenly something happening will be that tip of the iceberg for you, and it will be done. It might not be when you think it should be, but it's going to happen. There's so many success stories that we can share on that lane, but that's not for this day. Another thing you want to do, I'm looking at my time, I'm wrapping up, is read just your mindset. Read your mindset. First, you have to have a mindset before you can read it. And when I'm talking about mindset here, I'm talking about that positive mindset, that ability to train your mind that all things are possible, and that all things that are possible, that I have to do the work, and that I need to learn how to do the work. I need to align with those who can teach me, raise my hand when I need help. Don't feel like I'm the solution to everything. Ask for help. If they don't want to help, it's okay. Ask for another person. By the time you go around 10, 20 people, trust me, people are not that mean. They might not have time when you need them, but if you're persistent, my favorite word, if you're persistent, you are going to get your help when it's designed to be. And when it's designed to be, everything will be falling in place. So, but you have to have that mindset. And once you have that mindset, you need to be able to read it. You need to be able to read it. Because when you have a mindset of possibilities, you have to be able to read yourself and know who to engage, at what capacity do you engage them, and at what point do you withdraw from that engagement. If peradventure you're knocking, and nobody sees you, raise your hand, nobody sees you, create your own table, have your own party. That's nothing, there's nothing wrong with it. Thank God for social media. Rather than holding and having a mindset that maybe, oh, it's not possible, it's hard, it's not fair, it's da 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 da. No, nobody says life will be fair, you all. You can have your own party. Go on and go do it. Whatever you want to do, go do it. Just be the best that you can be and do it afraid. Like one of my mentors would say, do it afraid. When you start, it can only get better. It cannot get any worse. If you work at it, I can assure you, it cannot get worse. If you're consistent and you're not just waiting for men's accolades, because even when you're doing well, men will not always celebrate you. They will act like they're tolerating you, and they're going behind the scene, watching what you're posting, what you're doing, what you're not doing. They're monitoring everywhere you are. Some people will come to me, they'll say, oh, Remy, you're everywhere. No, I'm not everywhere. I'm where I want to be. I am where I need to be. I am where I have to be. That's what guides what I do. But if you don't know me, you won't know that I have a purpose to what I do. Everything I do has a reason. And one of the main reasons is to be an impact agent, to be able to align resources and opportunities and network of influence to people who have a need for it. I'm an empty nester. To the glory of God, our young leaders that God allowed us to birth are doing great. So the journey that I'm on is not about self. It's about impact. And you don't need to express that to anyone. You just need to keep doing you. Have your own party. Create your own whatever you decide that you want the world to know about that will bless them. Go ahead and have it. As you're having it, helpers of destinies will come along. You will meet like-minded people. And when you do that, you might just start in twos. It might just be you and that person. It doesn't matter. If both of you go out and you impact other people, it becomes a multiplication. Like we always say in Black CEO, 1 + 1 = 2, 1 and 1 = 11, collaboration. So you have to get to a point that you can read your mindset, not what you showcase on stage, that people come for that one moment of getting everybody excited and you go back to your cocoon and your mind sinks. And you're trying to figure you out. No, if you are someone with emotional intelligence, you will be able to read your own mindset. And you'll know when you need to slow down. You know when to connect and disconnect from some connections that you have forged. Some connections are not there forever. They're not designed to be there forever. They're just there to maybe get you to a point. And when you see that you're forcing over it, you need to disengage and keep doing you. They will still come back. All of it will still add up because we're all going to connect at some point. But the way you see it today might be different than what I see it. And if you can engage together and reason together, that should not be a reason for you to hate. The person doesn't see your view doesn't mean that they don't like you. Plus, even if they don't like you, who cares? Their liking you is not going to make you that brand of what you have been created to be. As long as you have other ways to engage so you can birth your greatness, so you can be a blessing to other people. Just keep doing you. Have your own party. That's what I tell people when I talk to my mentees and we have a conversation, and I would tell them that if they're going on with some what is happening in their corporate setting and what they're engaging, by the time I share one or two of my stories in my corporate world, they're like, what? And you stayed there for 17 years? Yes, I did. Because it's not the fast-paced years now that you all, I mean, the millennials, they can have a job in 2 days, go to another job, and so on. This is not the time for that. In my days, it wasn't. So I stayed there. So you just have to be able to have that mindset, to read your mindset. When you're able to read your mindset, then you can know when you have a need. You can know what your deficiencies in your training abilities are. What do you need? Who do you need? What training do you need so that you can be that brand that would add more impact to the world? Because your voice is being waited for. Somebody is waiting for your voice. And until they hear your voice, they could hear mine, it won't mean anything. Until they see you take your rightful position and begin to do what you have been created to do, You haven't started. So do not let anybody, born of woman, stop your dream, because you can do it. You can do it. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to be able to read your mindset. When your mindset is shifting and that negative thought is trying to strike your thought, just shake it up. Disregard those negative thoughts. And how do you disregard it? Engaging yourself, doing what you want to do, and finding and being true to yourself. It might be when you need to do that slow down moment and say, okay, Remy, why am I feeling this way today? What's going on? Itemize what has gone on that's making you think like that, and what you need to do differently. There are times we're part of things, and a lot of politics go on everywhere. I tell people when I talk to my young leaders, my mentees, 90% of work that you do in corporations or any business is the politics of the business. 10% is the work. Because by the time you're figuring out, oh, did you see what somebody wore yesterday? Did you see what Remy said? Did you see what Janet did? All of this stuff. The clock never stops ticking. But we use 90% of our time worrying about what is happening. And sometimes we don't worry. We're just being nosy about what's happening. And then we're not able to mind our business. Someone with emotional intelligence will be able to know when to adjust their mindset. When you find yourself going in that lane of being a chitty chatter, somebody who is being a nosy Rosie for not a good reason, minding other people's business, then you want to quickly disengage, because that's an hour of your time that's wasted on somebody that maybe doesn't even know you exist, that doesn't even know what you do. And if they know, they don't need you, they don't care. So I have to be able to ensure that my mindset, I read it. So if I'm in a setting and I start feeling some things and the negative thoughts are coming, I already know that I need to evaluate that relationship. I need to engage in that relationship, because they have not forced me to be in that relationship. I walked there myself, or I flew there myself. So if I don't like what I see, and I can engage to have a conversation to express how I feel, rather than staying there and hating, I need to get out, because I'm going to be wasting my time, not theirs, because they are on a mission. So I need to go find out what my mission is. Emotionally intelligent individual will evaluate their thought process, because what everybody sees is always going to see that smile, that clapping, excitement. That's a natural thing for some people. We want to make sure it's also the same. That's the same exact way you feel when you're alone, because that's what will define who you are and how you can sustain this moment of fame, if you will call it, because nothing good lasts forever. Nothing good comes easy. And whatever you are, when you're up, like my mother will always say, when you're on the top, the only thing that can happen is you come down. If you're already at the pinnacle of your career, there's nowhere else to go. So you're already on the top. But my mom would say, be careful how you treat people when you go up, when you're climbing up, because by adventure, you have to come down, or for whatever. It come down doesn't mean negative. It might mean you retire, or illness, or something happens that you can't control. If it happens, but if you treat people right as you go up, you're going to have like a Humpty Dumpty fall. It won't be like, boom, you go down and you're down. Somebody's going to be rocking you. She will go like this. They'll be rocking you, because they'll be like, they will remember what you've done, and they're going to be trying to salvage and make sure that you never hit the ground, because they remember this sweet smelling savor that you have put in their life. So who are you engaging? Who are you putting a smile in their face? Until we can do that intentionally and consistently, then we have not started. It doesn't have to be 500 people. Who are you consistently engaging that they can say that without your word of inspiration, that they would not have been able to continue what they are doing? That's what it's all about, you all. Everybody needs a little encouragement here and there. Your gift is your gift. Mine is mine. And together we can multiply this gift and make ourselves that best brand of individual that has been created We have been on this for 6 weeks. It has been a great honor to be on this platform. I appreciate all of you who have joined. I appreciate the Black CEO family for this platform. This is the last of the 6 series. I'm sure I will be back again at some point. There will be other engagements that you will join me on Facebook. But I want to say thank you to all of you who have been with me from the first week to now, and those who even listen after the fact. I want to say thank you for your commitment, and I hope that what we have shared you can use and be that CEO with emotional intelligence and a CEO with cultural competency. And as you do that, I can assure us that success will be our portion. And because it's a journey, as we journey, this journey will be a fun journey. It will be a healthy journey. It will be a journey that will leave our footprint on the face of this earth. Thank you so much for being part of this. I appreciate you. Enjoy your Saturday. I started early today because I have another commitment for 10 o'clock in my place of worship. So I am disengaging now, not forever, but you will join me on other platforms. And I thank you all very much. God bless you. Make the day a great day. And remember, we're springing forward this weekend. So remember to take your clock 1 hour behind and spring forward to your greatness. God bless you. Thank you.